In this video, we will go over tree diagrams in probability. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Numerics with Nadia, and let's get into our lesson objectives for today. By the end of this lesson, you guys should be able to understand what a tree diagram is, use tree diagrams to represent all possible outcomes of a probability experiment, calculate probabilities of simple and compound events using tree diagrams, and apply tree diagrams to real-world examples. If you guys haven't watched the rest of the probability videos in my statistics playlist, I'll go ahead and tag those right here for you guys. I would highly encourage you guys to watch those first to get a background of probability before getting into our lesson for today. Let's go through and define a few terms that we'll be using in our video. First off, we have tree diagram. That's the most important term here. It's what our whole video is about. A tree diagram is a diagram that shows all possible outcomes of an event in a branching format. The next term we have is outcome. An outcome is a possible result of an experiment. A compound event is an event with more than one action or trial. Examples of this would be flipping two coins. Probability of an event is the number of favorable outcomes divided by the number of total outcomes. And our last term is independent events. Independent events are events where the outcome of one does not affect the other, for example, flipping a coin. So these are a little bit of a review. Now we'll get into our practice section. Our first example is flipping two coins. So let's say we're flipping two coins. What is the probability of getting two heads and what is the probability of getting at least one tail? So here we have our two coins. We're going to flip them and we're either for each coin going to get heads or tails. So now that we've drawn out our diagram, let's list out our outcomes. So when we flip our coin, our outcomes would either be heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, or tails, tails. So the probability of getting two heads would be 1 out of our 4 outcomes. And the probability of getting at least one tail, where there's 3 options for that, right? Heads, tails has a tail, tail, heads has a tail, and tail, tail has a tail. It has 2 actually. So the probability of getting at least one tail would be 3 out of 4. So that wraps up our first example. We'll do quite a few more just to make sure we're comfortable with this concept. Our next example for number 2 says, you roll a die that's 6-sided and you flip a coin. So we have our die here and our coin. What is the probability of rolling an even number and getting heads? So for our 6-sided die, our outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for our coin, we're either going to get heads or tails. So our list of outcomes here is going to be quite a few, right? We could either roll a 1 and flip a heads, roll a 2, get a heads, 3 heads, 4 heads. So I'll speed through all of our outcomes here. What's going to end up happening is we'll have that full set of 6 sides paired with heads and the full set of 6 sides paired with tails. So what we're asked for here is what is the probability of rolling an even number and getting heads? So out of our 12 outcomes, we're looking for an even number. So the even numbers between 1 and 6 on a 6-sided die would be 2, 4, and 6. And which one of those include also getting heads? So that would be the 2 heads, 4 heads, and 6 heads. So that is 3 out of our 12 outcomes. So when we simplify our fraction, that would be 1 out of 4. And that is our answer for number 2. Now we'll move on to our third example. For our third example, we are drawing marbles from a bag. So I have our bag here. Our bag has 2 red and 2 blue marbles. So we're going to draw one, replace, and then draw again. So our sample will stay at 4. We're looking for the probability of 2 reds. So every time we pull our hand out, one of 2 things is going to happen. We're either going to pull a red or a blue. And when we do that, when we put our hand back in and we grab another marble, we will either pick a red or a blue marble. So now that we've finished up our tree diagram, let's write out our outcomes. So we're either going to have red, 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 blue, blue, red, or blue, blue. So we have 4 outcomes here. We're looking for the probability of getting 2 reds. So out of our 4 outcomes, the probability of getting 2 reds would just be 1 out of 4. And that is our answer for number 3. Now we'll move on to our 4th example. For number 4, we are choosing lunch. So the cafeteria offers 2 sandwiches, chicken and veggie, and 2 drinks, water or juice. So we have our lunch tray here. For our sandwich, which we're gonna pick first, we either are going to get chicken or veggie. And then once we grab our sandwich, we're gonna go grab a drink. We can either have water or juice. So that is going to be our tree diagram for this example. We are looking for the probability of getting veggie and juice. So let's write out all of our outcomes first. Our outcomes here are going to be pulling chicken and water, chicken and juice, veggie and water, or veggie and juice. So we have 4 outcomes here, and we are looking for the probability of getting veggie and juice. So getting veggie and juice is just going to be 1 out of our 4 outcomes. So our answer would be 1 over 4. And now we'll move on to our last example for our lesson today. Example 5 says we have a family with 2 children. What is the probability of 1 boy and 1 girl? So I have our 2 children here. Our probability would be we're having 2 kids, so we have to have 1 at a time. If the first one is a boy, then for the second, we would either have a boy or a girl. And if the first one is a girl, the second would either be a boy or a girl. So let's list out our outcomes. Our outcomes are either going to be boy, 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 girl, girl, boy, or girl, girl. So we're looking for the probability of 1 boy and 1 girl. The birth order doesn't matter here. We just want 1 of each. So looking for that, we could either have boy first and then a girl, or girl first and then a boy. So that would be 1/4 plus 1/4, and that gives us 2/4. So that would give us 1 over 2, or 1/2, as our answer for number 5. And that wraps up all of our examples for our lesson today. I know we did quite a few, but I think for tree diagrams, practice makes perfect. So that's why we did a lot of examples. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like it if you did, share this video with a friend, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment any questions or any other video topics you would like to see down below, and I will see you guys next time.